Season 4 of Chefs, Deliciousness, and Cocktails starts right now. Woo!
And here we are back in for another edition of Trey's Chapman Live. I'm here with John Tesar.
How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good to be back.
You know, I hear a lot of people pronounce your last name so many different ways. I just gave up and just say you say Tesar. I said Tesar. I don't know.
It's really Tesar,
Yeah.
right? But when I was a kid in high school, I just said Tesar, and people used to call me Czar. I moved to Texas, it became Tesar. So now I just take it any way I get it. You know, as long as you're saying my name, that's all that matters.
Before I forget about it, I saw this is off subject. Before I forget about it, I saw Michael Passmore posted a thing on a story, a video at Whataburger. He said he's got to leave Whataburger again, but he'll be back soon.
He was down here in Texas peddling caviar. But he's all over the state. So I think he was in Austin, San Antonio. So
I guess he likes Whataburger.
Yeah, he likes putting caviar on hamburgers. It's kind of strange, but it's with pimento cheese.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get down to you. So this weekend, I want to get this out. I'm going to get the big elephant in the room out. We got Chef for Farmers. We got Chef for Farmers in.
Yes, sir.
We got a lot of stuff going on there.
Chefs for Farmers is the culinary event in this region, I believe. Agency 21 and Iris McAllister have paired together, so it's bigger and better than ever now. Saturday night, I think tonight there's a dinner at Page's that's sold out.
I saw that.
Then we have street food on Saturday down at the AT&T Center.
Yeah.
Craziness down there, so it's going to be beautiful, I guess.
Have you been there?
I have been down there. Yeah, it's a little dicey down there, but I think on Saturday night you're going to have beautiful weather.
Yeah.
You have that big, beautiful mural down there, and it's going to be a really nice night. And then Sunday we have at Heritage Village, we have the grand event, the grand tasting, and I have 10 chefs coming from all over. Billy Terrell's coming from Nashville. I have Bruce Kallman coming from Las Vegas. Lamar Moore's coming from Chicago. Josh Smith coming from Boston. And
Justin coming back?
Justin Brunson. How could I forget Justin Brunson? Alex Seidel can't be with us. He had neck surgery, a back surgery.
Oh.
But it's that whole group of people. And then a lot of local chefs, Misty Norris, the whole crew, Peja, all the young kids. So it's a great, I think it's just a great event for Dallas because it's about food and wine and drinking and all of this other stuff and music, but it's really about gathering, and I think right now we really have to be appreciative that we're able to get that back together again. And it's sounding cliche and all this other stuff, but it really means a lot to me because I miss that energy. And I think that's what really makes our business worthwhile is the people that come to see us.
I think you're right. And if I was a chef or restaurateur, I miss it. I'm in the business, but I don't own the restaurants anymore. But yeah, I can understand.
I was lucky. I never stopped. I was lucky enough to have all that steak. I sold it put it in trunks of people's car with antiseptic. And, it's amazing how far we've come. Like I remember those days where I would be like, sneak out of the house, have a mask on. I had Lysol spray, hand sanitizer. And people would pay me in cash, and I'd say, please put the envelope in the trunk of the car. And I'd take the cash out, and I'd spray it with Lysol.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was crazy. And I'd put it all back together, and it was dry. It was insanity. I really think it was something serious and something we need to look out for in the future. But the way we handled it was insanity.
Yeah.
It really was.
I hope we came up with a better plan.
Yeah, I think that we learned this time. I think to do it a little better.
I do. That's what I say. I think that we learn from everybody, learn from the experience, and because something like this happened again, only with a different variable. And I think that we've all learned a little bit about.
Well, I think culture has really become very precarious in the sense that you can talk about adversity, but you can't talk about the solution, right? Because if you talk about coronavirus and how it was handled, it's disrespectful to all the people who passed away from it, right? But they're two different subjects in my mind. I have a left and a right side of my brain, and they kind of function together. But at the same time, it's tragic that anybody passed away, but people do die. And this is not unsympathetic, and please don't cancel me, but people die of cancer, people die in car crashes, people die of gun violence every single day. But we're fixated on this particular, I think, tragedy because we've never seen it before. Not since the Spanish flu, but there's history to it. But we're also seeing human nature in this. And I think it's disturbing to see this divide of people where they're just taking sides for the sake of taking sides and forgetting about culture and people. And then politicians are using these culture wars as distractions for actually doing stuff for us.
I agree.
You know?
I totally agree, and I think you're right. And the media is still harping on the deaths every day.
Yeah.
New death toll, and then for some reason they don't want you to forget about it. And all it does is bring sadness and they don't do it with the flu. They don't do it with cancer. Only with this.
But see, if you say that, then you're a bad person.
I know.
You could be turned around to a bad person in a second in this society, which is really wrong. I love Bill Maher. I don't care if anybody hates me for it, but that show has the most open, honest debate in this country about all different topics, and he brings right-wing people or extremist people to tell their part of the story. And then this way you could understand that we're all different, but we're all the same in a certain way. You know what I mean? And we need to agree to disagree, not be so violent when we disagree with somebody on either side, because everybody's wrong. It's human nature to be wrong.
Right.
It's human to make, to screw up. It's over the course of time. The most brilliant people in the world have screwed up. So.
Do you know, I think the reason people blow up now is because when I was a kid, I know you'll remember this, you could sit at a table and talk to people about politics. You could talk to people about decisions. You could actually have a conversation. And now that you can't, people just get mad at each other and there's no conversation, no debating anymore.
I had a situation, everybody knows I'm a very mercurial person. And I can get theatrical at times. And that whole Top Chef persona, I turn it on sometimes when I use it to my advantage in real life. Where normally, me, I'm pretty much low-key kind of guy. I like to keep to myself these days. But I was in a situation in business where I was talking to someone I had a relationship in my old building. I had moved recently. And I was talking to them about, discomfort during the ice storm and stuff like this. And I told her certain things, and they were asking me for these moving out charges. And I was like, I'm not paying the moving out charges. And this woman came out from behind the wall, didn't introduce herself to me or anything, just started screaming at me, right? So I stepped back and I said, oh, are you one of those woke individuals? Are you going to cancel me now? Because I don't think any human being has the right to judge another one, let alone cancel them. And once you start to cancel anybody's opinion, whether you agree with it or not, you're playing judge, jury, and God. And that's a dangerous place to be. And we have this magic button that anybody can push at any moment, and just scream like fire in a theater now. Right. And it needs to be dismantled. It truly does need to be dismantled because
it's horrible.
Humans are going to make mistakes, and people. There's societal penalties to be paid for these things. Yeah. Right. If you make a mistake, or you're that type of person, or you're doing some unjust thing, things work themselves out. Yeah. It's not a place for someone else to say that person should resign or that person should quit. How about we go to your house and say find something about you and say now you have to quit your job.
Blow it up on social media.
Yeah, you can't take care of your family now because you said something stupid one day. It's
or 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's even worse.
I know.
Because God knows if someone taped me from 10 years ago, they could turn it into. I had it happen to me at the mansion. If you collect dialogue from people over a long period of time, like an edit, like if you listen to Howard Stern, like when he chops up all these things from people and he can prank call people, you could do that to anybody with their own conversation and cancel them in 30 seconds. Right. I don't care who they are. You could do that to the Pope if you had privilege to his private conversations. You know what I mean? This is the insanity of it, that people are using this as a power, as a distraction from actually getting things done. Right. And I don't know, I can't tell you why, other than greed. And, you don't want to get into all these.
Maybe self-satisfaction?
I get what the planet's burning. People are angry with each other. You can't, calm down for a minute and, get along with somebody else. I mean, it's like, what do they say? Nero played the fiddle while Rome burned. So here we go. History repeating itself. I just don't think it's, that we're not at the end yet.
No, we're not. So how is the restaurant business going? Has everything come back?
We're very lucky because of my ability to sell those steaks and stay connected with people and to do a couple of things to keep them employed. All of our employees came back. And it was too long in bringing them back because of payroll issues and, volume issues, regulations when you can only do 50%. So now that we're back 100%, no masks, the employees are still wearing masks. I mean, that's a personal thing. Sure. I don't want to get into that conversation. It's like, there's a vaccine out there. I've been triple vaccinated. I had the virus twice. I'm just going to go on living my life. You can do whatever you want.
I can't believe all the people get vaccinated and then still getting the virus. And I had it. I had it too. And because I didn't quit working either. I was traveling around when this stuff was going, visiting with
I had it
restaurants.
twice before the inoculation. No, it's very contagious now in the Delta strain, and it's important that people get vaccinated so we don't have another strain.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like even Bill Maher said this the other night. It's a virus. It's always going to be around.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Always going to mutate. So like fixating on this one virus rather than because a large part of our lockdown that we all paid for was to keep the hospital and the medical system intact from overriding, right? So I don't know about you, but I'm an individual payer. I own my own company. I pay a ton of money every month to get medical, to have medical coverage. This was basically being told that we had to all chill out and stay home because the hospitals were filled. So there's a whole other political side of this that, like with hospitals, like build more hospitals, don't build more hospitals, medical insurance, coding, all of this stuff, and how much it costs the average person to get medical coverage and prescription coverage. It's a nightmare. That's what we learned about this virus, and I think that's harping on the virus and rather than focusing on that is another distraction.
And we're all going to pay for it.
We're paying for it now.
Yeah, but we are. We're going to pay for it. That's what Yeah. Give it all that money, and we're going to.
This is turning into a political discussion today, but we should pay our bills, and we should focus on infrastructure and give moms and people some leave. It's that time in the world that if Jeff Bezos, I'm sorry, the man looks like a penis. His rocket ship is in the shape of a penis, and the logo of his company is like. It's like that penis, like the erectile dysfunction thing you see on TV. It's a curved. Yeah. To me, so I'm like. Tax that guy. He should pay something. Like I'm looking at him every day. He delivers something to my house every day, or my neighbors. Right? He's all over the place. He's got a spaceship that goes up to the tip of the atmosphere, and he's not paying taxes. That's the guy you should go after. No, not me, not you, not the working class person. I believe that this is something in the next 2 years. I think they could have handled this a different way. They could have given people in business no 2 years without taxes. Right. Would have been more I think organic, because a large part of small businesses, we pay taxes and it takes away from our profit.
It does.
If you could give us 2 years of not having to pay the government money rather than the government giving us,
worked out a whole lot better.
Funny money. And then, this PPP scam where you just kind of put people back to work at a higher wage so you can pay it back, which is really what the problem is, getting to the restaurant people. Because if my dishwasher was making $500 a week and the government started giving him $800, he's not going to come back to work for $500 a week.
He's not.
Whether he loves his job or not, he's going to look for $800 a week. He's been living on that for the last 18 months.
Right.
That's the next problem to solve.
Right.
It's not about the unemployment or they gave too much money. They did. They gave too much money.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just give the same amount of money that someone made? Right. It was overcompensation. If you would have just paid me to stay home the same wage
that I was making,
I would be happy, right? Because I'm not working. Right. I have plenty of time on my hands, but my bills are paid and I'm still living in that lifestyle. We gave everybody a bump. And that's another question, is whether we should give people more money in general. So that's where the balance is, and that's where I'll get blowback from people, because people should be making at least $15 to $20 an hour. I don't know how you live in this society without it.
Just not
possible. And you can downsize, and you can make people more efficient, and teach them and train them, which I think is a missing art from the restaurant business too. Everyone wants to hire somebody that's been you get their resume. Oh, they worked at the French Laundry. They went to Alinea. They went here or there. Oh, let me hire them. And they peeled onions there. Right. But it's on their resume, so you hire them. But I'm opening all these restaurants in the country. I'm going to people. I want people that are just coming out of jail. Right. Can't get a job in college.
Yeah, that's great.
Didn't go to college. Right. And I'm going to train them.
Why? They work hard.
Yeah, and it's not even a question of stereotyping that they work hard. It's just they need an entry point, and they're going to be appreciative. And I'm not going to ask them to wash dishes their whole career. I'm going to say, maybe you come in and show me who you are at this level. It doesn't have to be dishes. And if you want to go to that level, here's the place to do it.
Right.
And I tell all my guys every day, this isn't about me anymore. This is about you. I created an opportunity, a stage for you to perform.
That's right.
You have a box. I gave you a box, the John Tesar box, right? We have the dry aged steaks. We have a reputation of seafood. Everybody loves our pastas. We make them from scratch, as a lot of people do. These are basic fundamentals that people sensationalize constantly in our business, when they should just be focused on, and every day they need to be at a certain level everywhere. you know,
Right.
and then you get your award or be on your list, you know. Not we do it in reverse. We chase, like I was saying earlier before we went on the air. I used to chase this stuff, and now it's just like I just go to work every day.
But I think, John, I think you're right though. I think that if you take somebody like that and they're appreciative and they work with you, they won't leave you either. That's a problem we have now. These people flopping around restaurant to restaurant to restaurant think they deserve or should earn more.
It's a balance between opportunity and income for sure. You have to give them a stage where they're going to learn, and an opportunity to be seen on top of it. These younger chefs need to be seen. They want to break out on their own. And I don't discourage. I'm past those years of jealousy or monitoring somebody else's success. That, to me, that was the greatest waste of my career, was like worrying what other people were doing. Do you
think a lot of chefs coming up do that though because they feel like they have to?
I think it's a natural progression. You have to be competitive as a young chef. You want to be found, and so you're looking at trends. You're reading magazines, and this is where the business has really failed us, and it's really failed us during the pandemic because of politics. All of these media companies jumped out the window.
Yeah,
they wouldn't write about anything.
No,
I opened
agree.
2 restaurants during the pandemic. Not a screech about us anywhere, you know, except locally in Orlando when we opened up Knife and Spoon.
Yeah.
And I don't care because it's successful. The customers are doing it. To me, it just showed me that you don't need all that. You just really need to have a great restaurant or something that people can relate to and then perform every day. And then the word of mouth is much larger. And then I find from the word of mouth and all of those people that wouldn't pay attention to us because of the politics of the pandemic are now going to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
And I saw an article in a magazine, which shall go unnamed, last month, where they just kind of threw 4 restaurants that opened up during a pandemic. You know, like it was like little article blurbs. And they're all, again, you know, like, and I have these conversations all the time. All these writers are now under pressure from their editors to go younger, ethnic, more diverse, inclusion, which makes everything look like a Benetton ad.
Sure.
Right? Which is kind of cool that everybody gets included. But are we focusing on quality or are we focusing on imagery?
Kind of like participation trophies with kids.
Yeah, I think it's worse because it's imagery. And we're living in a world where that image, you know, the Instagram, the TikTok, the stories, everything else, no one has an attention span for more than 10 seconds. Everybody's putting up the great moments of their life. You know, and kids are reviewing the great moments of everybody. Even the loser has a great moment, right? And that's on whatever it is. Right. So if you go to that social media every day, think of when you start your morning, everyone grabs that phone.
Yeah.
And they look like, how many likes did I get? What am I going to post today that's not going to humiliate me or be interesting? And then you think, because I have these same thoughts now. And the other day I was to myself, I said, this has got to stop. It has to stop.
But you should have it though for your thoughts, or for Orlando, or for Dallas, or for Laguna.
Yes.
Because it's your business.
Yeah.
And you almost everything you post is business. You don't post you don't anybody in your personal business. I know how you are, but you post a lot of business stuff.
Yeah, because I'm 2 different people, and people haven't understood that my whole life. Let's say it was either the mansion guy from the cover of D magazine and the guy on Top Chef. You know, and the second time I did Top Chef, you saw more of me because I had just kind of like grown tired of like chasing the bad boy image and having everybody like, when you walk in the room, they're like, oh my God, here it comes. What's he going to say tonight? I'm like, no, I'm not going to do anything. You know, because I'm having a good time. How are you? Nice to see you. Want a hug?
Yeah.
You know, take a picture. I don't, you know, that whole celebrity chef thing. I don't, unless you're Guy Fieri making $100 million. I think it's a waste of time, to be honest with you.
That was a great deal he made.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. See, there's entertainment.
Yeah.
And then there's culinary, and then they cross over. It's 2 different fields. You know, like if you're a chef in a restaurant every day, you're a chef in a restaurant every day. If you have the ability to step outside of your own kitchen and become a celebrity and be an entertainer, that's your choice. I don't begrudge anybody their success of that.
It's a lot of work.
But it's not really what we do for a living. You know, it's not really what I do for a living.
No. So let's talk about that. During the pandemic, I flew down for when your restaurant opened up in Orlando, and I loved it.
Thank you.
But you were right. I mean, it was like a ghost town down there. I mean, the hotels.
Oh, with Disney World closed and all the theme parks closed. And the hotel, this is a testament to like my happiness. Like people ask, like, what's changed? Like, right? I opened a restaurant in a Ritz-Carlton. This is a
Beautiful
$1 billion
place.
resort with a $5 million renovation. It used to be Norman Van Aken's, and they put me in there. Okay, so you know, I've always had a hard time wrapping my head around it. You know, from chasing all of this celebrity chefdom and looking up to all these guys. Another thing that happens is you don't realize that you you might be there yourself, you know, in a certain way, And I never look at it that way. I just really go to a restaurant, I look at the food and the whole 9 yards. So we had that opportunity, we did it, and it was ghost town, and the restaurant was packed every night. Yeah. And it was crazy, and all the local writers got behind it and wrote about it and came, and the hotel was amazing to stand behind us and go forward with us and the ownership. So, you know, it's amazing. These guys might give us another opportunity in Hawaii. So it's not certain yet, but I'm working on something with Sheldon Simeon, and it's kind of like Star Noodle, which he did on Maui before he had his own restaurant, Lineage and Tin Roof,
right?
And meets Knife, so to speak. And it's in, I can't tell you the hotel at this moment because there's somebody else in there.
Do you think you're going to always keep the knife theme?
Yeah, I mean the key to my long-term success is the supply chain.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, my relationship with Heartbrand and 44 Farms, specifically 44 Farms, we're trying to increase that because I'm trying to get into a wholesale meat business. These guys have asked me to help them dry age meat and try to sell them to H-E-B in Central Market potentially. They have relationships with them, so we're working on that. But coming out of the pandemic, there's two issues. There's how many cattle there are, and there's how much shackle space. This is what people don't understand.
No, they don't understand.
They go to a steakhouse and they're eating steak, but that guy's buying steak from X, Y, and Z, Allen Brothers, all these guys. I'm dealing with the cattle from like the pasture,
eating the grass,
eating the grass to the slaughterhouse to how it gets to me, how it gets to Orlando, how it gets to Laguna, how it's going to possibly get other places. And then how do I keep that chain rolling and the consistency going? And then we have Knife Burger now. We're doing Knife Burger in Orlando around the JW.
You are doing it. Okay, awesome.
It's like a beach club around the pool, but we're calling it Knife Burger.
Oh, cool.
This January it starts.
Same burgers?
Same burgers with all 44 farms, you know, and I'm doing the CVAP. So it's the fast food version of our Knife Burger. Right. And it's expanded. We're going to have some seafood burgers. So it's kind of like, remember that thing I did at Royale with those guys? Yes. It's kind of, we're going to take some of those successful, like the salmon burger, the shrimp burger, the lobster burger, because they want that there in Florida. So it's knife and spoon kind of thing. So we're going to do the 44 Farms and the seafood burgers and then some salads. And it's all about getting the food out faster and a higher quality around this pool and making it a beach club.
That's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great.
Jan and I'll have to come back for that.
And my buddy, you got to come down for that for sure. And now Florida's totally open. Everything's wide open down there.
It's been open for a while,
And we're also, a buddy of mine, Josh Smith, has All Town Fresh in Boston. And it's a gas company that is doing healthier food and moving toward the future, where they see that there'll be more electrical cars, more need for healthier food along the highways. Right. So these guys import gas. They own all these gas stations on the Connecticut and the Mass Turnpike.
Wow.
And we're going to start doing Knife Burger there. So that's another challenge, is like, how do I get 2,000, 3,000 pounds of ground beef to Massachusetts?
How are you going to you're going to have to?
They have a dispensary because they have all these locations. Right. I will just Southwest. I get it right from 44 Farms or Cavanagh down in Houston. Ship it direct to by Southwest Freight. They pick it up. Eventually, though, when we get this business going a little further, and I'm not getting into the meat business, I'm just getting into like this John Tesar branded 44 Farms, dry aged beef and ground beef that you can have at home, and you could see it in other locations because we're spread out around the country. I'm going to be 64 next month. I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah, you don't act 64.
I'm not. I don't feel it. I don't look it, but I am it, and I have children, and you know, I'm not selling out by any means. I'm doing all of this with the intent to be a good dad and take advantage of the success and get our product to people who really appreciate it, you know, because the demand is there.
Speaking of beef, I've got some pictures I've just got pictures of stuff here from Knife and then Orlando and then a couple from Laguna. Can we play those, Ron? I want everybody to see them. That's Knife here.
Oh, yeah.
That's a beautiful picture.
That's like probably a 60-day ribeye.
And then this is Knife and Spoon in Orlando. I love that whole
logo.
Yeah, the logo and the.
That's a dish from Spoon all the way. It's a diver scallop that we get live. We shuck it fresh, and then it's just lightly seared and has dashi and truffle and brown butter. And we have in Orlando, we have a world-class pastry chef.
She's awesome.
It's a resort. It's an incredible place, and the desserts are amazing.
Yeah,
just look at them. They're works of art. They're true. I mean, we have great pastries everywhere, but in Orlando, our pastry chef it's like right out of Paris. These desserts.
I love this one too.
This is dry aged foie gras. This is a dish that Gerald made with some truffle and I think 120-day dry aged foie gras.
Yeah, it was good. It was very good.
Yeah, you've tasted that. You're one of the few people. That's just a gull. We're down there with the gull shrimp, so all the shrimp is great and fresh.
I love that presentation.
That's all Gerald. We'll give him credit for that. And that's a 44 Farms tenderloin.
It was delicious.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we have an outer reef. Here it is. This
Beautiful,
is next.
isn't it?
Yeah, 3 years in the making. People don't believe it's going to open, but it is. If you can, I can't. It's not even in that picture, but it's before the renovation. But these are some classic. That's a Le Bernardin dish. We can't ever. But that's a picture of my interpretation of Eric Ripier's pounded tuna dish.
Yeah.
And, outer reef is going to be something special. I don't think people realize, because, most of my reputation is here in Dallas and Texas. But we're going out there and I'm doing a seafood restaurant on the West Coast that's going to be all West Coast seafood.
Yeah.
So at Spoon, we took seafood from all around the world, mostly East Coast because that was my repertoire and that's where I grew up. And now that we're going to be on the Pacific Ocean, I'm not flying fish from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific. So I've done a lot of research. The good thing, and this happened before Knife. This is the one positive thing about having to wait or being comfortable enough to wait. I had Spoon, and it took 18 months for Barringer Harvard to pull the trigger on Knife at the Highland.
Right.
Now, 7 years later, you look at the success. And in that 18 months, I didn't have an income from it. I was frustrated. I wanted to get to it, but I had all this time to develop it. So this restaurant on the West Coast, I've had 3 years, and during the pandemic, the website, YouTube, Fisherman, famous restaurants, Manresa, talking to any seafood chef on the West Coast and getting the vibe and seeing the products that they work with. And so now we're going to be able to just kind of unleash 3 years of pent-up frustration and a lot of knowledge into this beautiful restaurant, right? You saw it's right on the Dana Point Marina and the sunsets and the patio. We redid the patio. It's a $2 million patio with 6 fire features. And you're right there.
Here's right there.
Right on Doheny Beach, so you can. It's not even there. The renovation, that you can't even see where the restaurant is. It's on the other side. Of the So
I lived there for 10 years.
Yeah, I know you did.
And when you were talking about, I was so excited when you started talking about this 3 years ago. And it's like every time I talked to you, every time I was following you, was no setback. But by the same token, what you just said, most people design a restaurant, they slam it together, they build it as fast as they do the build out as fast as they can.
Yeah.
They do menu as fast as they can, and they open it up, and nothing ever works right. Generally, you have a lot of quirks and things you got to work out.
Oh, always.
All the time you've had, that is the positive. I didn't think about that.
There's one thing left. We have to wallpaper the hallways in the bathroom, and it all comes down to hiring. And we're in the middle of the hiring process. So if you're in Dana Point, California, or Laguna Beach, or even Huntington Beach, and you want a job, come on down and see us. It's a Marriott Cliffs Resort and Spa. It's a Marriott hotel in Dana Point. Great benefits, great wages. There's even a union for some of you, breakfast and lunch. There'll probably be a union in the kitchen. But that was part of the hang-up, is that the union came into the hotel during the pandemic. I had a contract preceding the union. Then we had it was the union after the pandemic, then the pandemic, and then seasonality within the hotel. And this is part of why you can wait when you work in a hotel rather than if you had a real estate spot where you sign a lease.
Right.
That thing can sit there for 2 years because they didn't have it in the first place. It's not on the spreadsheet or the P&L. So I'm an addition to it.
Right.
So they can do without it until they have it. So we got very lucky that way, that we survived the whole pandemic. Because a lot of times people would just cancel those projects, or they would have to back out of the lease, and it would have never happened.
So you said the union came into the hotel during the pandemic.
Yes.
So it was a union, and now the hotel's union.
The owners of the hotel own another hotel in New York.
Okay.
And I think that lent, you can't have one hotel with a union and one without. And oftentimes in these hotels, the housekeeping is what first turns to the union, and then it spreads throughout the hotel. I learned that in Vegas. That's what happens. Anytime they open it, Steve Wynn had Wynn without housekeeping for the first 3 months, and there were all these protests.
Right, I remember.
And then the housekeeping went union, and now everything's union. So it's part of the politics of a hotel that I don't really have to deal with, and I can negotiate around within my contracts. But that gives me the ability to survive this 3 years of not being open.
Every hotel in Vegas is union, right?
I believe so. For the most part. There are some that have, when you're in Mandalay Bay, when we had RM Seafood and we were in that Mandalay Place.
Right.
Once you were outside of the hotel, it was non-union. So Rick didn't have to have union people there. But once you crossed that line, everything was union in the hotels themselves.
So John, let me ask you a question. What has been your biggest hurdle or your biggest feat in opening up restaurants so far apart for you? What has been? has been the biggest thing you've had to overcome, or issues you've had to solve within yourself as a restaurateur and a chef?
It's just the motivation to constantly go back and check, right? Because you know it's going well, and it's a two-pronged kind of situation in the sense that you have to motivate yourself to go back, but you also don't want to offend the people that you've put into positions there, like you're standing on their shoulders all the time.
Right.
Because Gerald is a very accomplished chef in his own right in Orlando. I let him go, and what we talked about earlier, I create this box. You have the dry aged beef, you have my seafood dishes that we put on the menu, my pasta dishes, some of the salads, which were more, I give Gerald a lot of latitude in Orlando because it's a different part of the country.
Yeah,
so he
totally
has,
different.
Yeah, he has different products, different seafood. So I let him incorporate all that into it, and we've collaborated on these things. And then you kind of let it go. And then also it is a Ritz-Carlton and a large resort. And they have Ritz-Carlton has a big hand
they do.
on my head.
Yeah, they do.
So, but I have a restaurant in the Ritz-Carlton, so I do not bite the hand that feeds me.
Right.
And I truly appreciate it, and it's been a very successful partnership, and with the owners and with Ritz-Carlton. So I'm very pleased about that.
You know what you just said? What's funny? You just said, I didn't think about this till now. All three of the rest of these restaurants are geographically in way different parts of the country.
Yes.
The only one thing about those restaurants that will work everywhere is steak. But everything else is totally different. Totally different.
Every restaurant is very different.
Yeah.
And I don't try to replicate because that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not taking like John Tesar Steakhouse and putting it in every city. It's like I'm asked to build a restaurant within a resort or a hotel that's going to keep guests on the property, basically, and then also bring locals to that restaurant as a destination. So I'm not trying to force feed my concept from Texas down their throat. I'm trying to create a restaurant around their environment. But the dry aged steak is something that universally people think is the greatest steak they've ever had. So it's my kind of calling card.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets me a little crazy because I'm more of a seafood chef than a meat guy. But I guess I'm a meat guy now.
Well, you've got the meat figured out, though.
Yeah. Well, that was luck and a lot of study.
I don't believe it. I was just fixing to say there's no luck involved in that. That was study. And
finding those cows was lucky.
Well, yes, they are.
Finding that 44 Foie, Bob McLaren, and those people was very, very lucky.
You know what? Yes, it is
for both them and me.
It is because most cattle ranchers aren't like that. Their cows are not. They don't produce like that.
No.
So they don't look like that.
No, I'm partnering with a rancher this weekend at Chefs for Farmers, and he's a grass-fed rancher because we're supporting farmers. So my relationship is with these other two companies, but we're doing something with a rancher this week, and I'm curious. It's grass-fed. It's very different, and I've had to approach the beef differently. So it's respect for the animal. It's respect for what we do. And I just happened to taste everybody's steak, and 44 Farms just happened to have the best product that lent itself to the dry aging process. So that's what.
How long did it take you in your assumption? How long did it take you to figure out the dry age process to where you were happy with it and where it was consistent for you?
Oh, at least 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Where I can kind of control its outcome and its consistency. And the best lesson I've had has really been Florida because mold grows like crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it does. Yeah.
You saw the box down there.
Yeah.
I mean, I put steak in there and I brought mold from Dallas, and the next 3 days the mold was everywhere. White mold too.
Yeah.
Not black mold. So
yeah.
it's like a different.
Yeah.
People have to understand what we do.
Yeah.
We have to understand what we do is that we develop because of the feed in 44 Farms specifically. There's no corn. It doesn't ammoniate. It's more vegetal and it's more fermentation driven. So it becomes sweeter as it gets older rather than more acidic and ammoniated and more like blue cheese.
Yeah.
And what I've learned how to do is control that mold and kind of take the cheesiness out of that process, which a lot of people didn't like in dry aged steak. They'd be like, it's too strong. It tastes like blue cheese.
Right.
You can see if I can get a steak around 60 to 90 days to 120 days, I get it all sweet and nutty.
Yeah.
And it's not so much about the thing I learned is like, the wow factor is like, I can eat steak 500 days and you're going to eat it. And it's delicious.
Right.
It's not for everybody.
Right.
240 is not for everybody. And if I can control that mold, I can serve you a 240-day dry-aged steak and it'll taste like a 120-day dry-aged steak because I'm controlling mold. Because the mold, and then there's other factors to it, is that you can't dry the steak out initially. So your fan, because all these companies try to come to me, these new companies where you can dry age steak at home. Right. They go, will you be an ambassador? Will you endorse it? And I look at the product and I can't really get behind it because the way they're doing it is not the way I do it.
Are they trying to speed the process up?
Well, they're doing it in the old-fashioned way, in a very new scientific way that it's home safe. with black light. They're still using the black light to kill any bad bacteria. And they're using fans to circulate things. I do things at a temperature and a humidity, and the rest is really just a technique of watching it, kind of like what a cheesemaker does.
Yeah.
Because that steak has to bleed. And if you put that fan on and you make it so cold, it's going to harden up, right? And that'll grow black mold on it eventually if you just let it, if you just let it rot.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not what we do.
Right.
We just lay it down, very cold temperature. I let it bleed, and then I crank the humidity down and turn that black mold slowly into white mold. And what helps the 44 farms is that feed. It doesn't want to turn to black mold. We sent it out recently. I never sent the mold out before, but Justin Brunson wanted to mass produce this in Colorado. So I sent him some meat, I sent him some mold, and he sent it out to a lab because he's really of a charcuterie guy.
Yeah,
he has an FDA plant. He makes all of these salumi things. So he had to go do that to make it legal for himself. Right? What we do is legal because I do it under temperature. It's right there. You see it. Everybody loves it after 7 years. But he goes through this rigorous process, and we found out it's nothing more than vegetal penicillin. So that goes back to my theory.
What a great thing to find out, though.
Organic chemistry by duh. You know, like
That's
7
awesome.
years of duh. Here it is. I got all the answers for you now, folks.
That's funny. That's great, though.
But now I'm the expert on it.
Yeah, I tell everybody, don't think of it as a mold. Think of it as a glove because it's just protecting the meat to make it better. That's what I tell everybody.
It's doing more than protecting the meat.
Yeah.
It's there are enzymes like a lot of meat. They put papaya enzymes on the end of it if you go to processing plants as a natural tenderizer. It's kind of like a natural MSG. The same thing with this mold is it's that eating. First of all, let's explain what dry aging beef really does. It removes all the blood, the water, and the impurities. It shrinks the fat. Whatever encases in that, then the fat still has moisture and flavor in it. So it's drawing the flavor from that fat into the meat, right? And then the meat is also shrinking because you're taking all of the moisture out of it. So it's the only thing you're really doing is intensifying the flavor and tightening up the texture.
I was just fixing
That's
to say,
all you're doing.
It makes the flavor very pronounced.
Yes.
And it's just to me it's more delicious, but I guess it's not for everybody.
And that's where the mold and the flavoring and that technique come in because you want to create a sweet, savory flavor balanced by the salt and pepper on the steak rather than something ammoniated and cheesy that really is just overpowering on the first bite, especially when you look at a piece of steak, your mouth starts to water. You're used to that steak flavor. The last thing you want is a hard piece of cheese in your mouth. And we don't do that.
Yeah. I like you said, it's just salt and pepper. That's all you need.
Salt and pepper. That's, Texas taught me that. I think I told you that story a long time ago. I did I was in the professional division of the Heiko Texas Cook-Off. My first year, I was at the mansion. So a big shot comes to town, from Vegas, out of New York. So what do? I buy like a Japanese Wagyu steak, and I put this balsamic rub on it, and cook it perfectly, put it in the box. Guy that wins did a ribeye from Creekstone with salt and pepper on it. So I was like, okay, lesson one. You're in Texas now, buddy.
That's right.
Simple but perfect.
It's so funny. I've been judging a lot of steak contests now for the last couple of years, and I've realized, and the ones that taste the best to me are just a little salt, a little pepper. Yeah. People try to inject and put all this stuff on there, and they come in, they're saturated with salt, and it's just not.
That's for barbecue, man.
I know.
Don't turn that steak into barbecue.
But it's just people think they all have all these crazy ideas. Yeah. And it's just simple, good meat and salt and pepper.
Well, we're living in a world of crazy ideas.
Yeah, we are.
And this is what's
social media. That's why.
Yeah, that I think is if anybody says what's wrong with social media, is that people they get to make shit up. And pardon my French, but I had to use that word. Yeah. Because that's what they're doing. They're just going on that thing and making stuff up. Yeah. And then there's no relativity to history. And then we have a generation that doesn't want to study history. And we have a portion of the country that wants to get rid of history. I don't think we should change anything in this country. Yeah. Right? Because if you want true equality, right? This is where people are going to jump on my case. True equality is you got to forget the past and you got to move on. Right? We've all had adversity, and I'm not going to pick groups, and some groups have had much adversity, but the group is that we're human nature. We're human beings. Forget about race, forget about where you come from, what language. How about we come together as human beings and just treat each other with respect? And part of that is understanding other people's viewpoints and understanding history and what made us who we are today. You can't just make shit up.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's part of politics too. They're just making stuff up now or in denial. You know, anyone can go on in this echo chamber and say something's not true or these conspiracy theories. It's just shameful.
Why
it's
do you
really
think?
shameful.
Well, you know what another problem is that they make it up, but that the people actually believe it. Can't you just look at something and go, that's shit.
Well, I agree with you, but that's a bigger societal problem about education and also where you grew up.
Yeah.
You know, because I understand there are rural towns in this country where, you know, white people don't know anything else but like
what they read,
the 200 people they grew up with.
Got you.
Right? So you can't expect them to all of a sudden become super malleable and accept everything. Right. It's what they're told. Right? I believe politicians should get parking tickets just like you and I get. You know, if we park in the wrong spot, if you lie, you get a parking ticket. Yeah. Right? If a politician's caught in an overt lie, he has to pay a fine. And if he lies over and over, the fine gets bigger and bigger. And it doesn't come out of his fundraising; it comes out of his bank account.
Yeah.
And you'll see the lies will disappear. It's like if you took money out of politics, all the politicians would disappear. Yeah. So you know, I'm not the one that's going to save the world.
That's a pretty good idea. That's like your idea you had last time about gun and Yelp owners. You said, I don't want to take them away. Everybody just have a license to do it. And be
Same thing. You got a car, get a gun license.
Yeah.
Right. And then there are fines for misusing your gun. Yeah. Like, don't make it. We demonize everything, and then it scares these people that don't know any other way.
Right.
And you can't take away. Like, if I'm out in rural Texas and I have feral pigs and all kinds of freaking varmints, I'm having a gun.
Yeah.
And I don't have a gun now. I never believed in guns. I had a gun once. I almost shot myself with it by accident, not for any other psychological reason. I tell people I don't have a motorcycle for the same reason I fell off my bicycle when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because I'm adventurous. I like to do things.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a tragedy. You know, like that thing that happened with Alec Baldwin the other day.
Oh man!
Like there shouldn't be any. What is a bullet on a movie set?
It's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
He was doing his job, and he relied on somebody else.
The story shouldn't have been so sensationalized, but the media's out to get Alec Baldwin because he's such a prolific liberal. You know.
Oh yeah. Speaking, because here again, yeah. So, but I got a video I want to show that you made. Can we show that? Can we roll that video, please? Just a great video you made, John, and I want to show it. It's about during the pandemic and.
My name is John Tesar. I'm chef and owner of Knife in Dallas, Texas, Knife in Plano, Knife and Spoon at the Grand Lakes Resort, Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, Florida, and soon to be Outer Reef in Dana Point, California at the Marriott Cliffs Resort and Spa. I'm probably one of the luckiest people in the world because I had restaurants all over the country and they were just about to open when COVID hit America and we shut down not only the country but the entire restaurant business. And luckily I had all of this dry-aged beef for Knife. It was a blessing. And I was able to come up with this scheme thanks to 44 Farms and Chris Shepard down in Houston. He said he sold his inventory in 24 hours and I had all of this meat. So I just brought in 2 of my employees to cut and bag, and we put 32-ounce steaks together. I would sit here every day, Fridays and Mondays. You can place your order on Instagram. And the people of Dallas, the people of the country of America really came and rallied around us. And thank God for the reputation of our steaks and the friendships we developed with our customers and people all over the country, because I wouldn't be here today. So during the pandemic, we had to do a lot of takeout and delivery. So thanks to Metro, I had a hot and cold box, which I was able to roll around not only the restaurant, but to events and to people's places and be COVID safe. And it really helped when I was selling steak, putting it in people's trunks of cars, that I could keep that steak the right temperature at the front door in my Metro cool box. And the Metro, I call it the club car. I can take it anywhere. You can do tableside with it. I can take it to demos. It has every insert for Lexans. It has cutting boards. You can slide it. It's extremely versatile. It's way better than a kitchen counter, and it's on wheels. Every chef should have it. The important thing to realize is that in March of 2020, COVID decimated the restaurant business, not only from coast to coast, but around the world. And here in America, we lost some of the greatest restaurants that ever existed. People were literally forced to be unemployed overnight. So those of us who are still here now, not only we are appreciative, it's time for us to give back to our community and really appreciate our guests. And I can't tell you that this pandemic was something that really transformed my life as far as gratitude and appreciation. And the fact that I do have these restaurants all over the country and I do have all of these wonderful teams of people who have now come back to work and help us survive this. I just want you all to be thankful and grateful when they wait on you and serve you, because they went through a lot to be here today to help you.
That was a great video, John.
Oh, thanks.
Did you have fun making it?
I did. It was chef's roll, and you saw the sponsors on there. They're just great guys to be able to do that and get the message out. Really, about surviving the pandemic. Really, what it was all about. So, and those companies really have, Metro Shelving. I mean, we're in every restaurant in the country, so they're just great people. And Chef's Roll is an awesome organization too. That's where that chef coat came from.
I know. I don't wish this on anybody, but we all learned so much about this pandemic with the restaurant business. Survival techniques and new operational things you can actually keep and some you can't. But it's just I told everybody when this thing was going to be over, if it was going to be hell to pay if your restaurant was still trying to do all the takeout you were doing and the dine-in seating if you had not prepared yourself to figure out ways to do that. And some of these restaurants I've seen have actually closed their takeout down because they couldn't do both. And then some have mastered it where they've got two different outlets, one for takeout or to go, and one for sit in, dine in.
I mean, our to go definitely has increased, and we've always done it because of we didn't have room service for the longest time. So if you stayed in a hotel, you could call down and place a to-go order, and we did it that way. So people will occasionally call to have food taken at home. We don't use any of those services because we really don't need to, and I think they take too much sometimes. But we're not that type of food that's to go. Right. But I do have a good announcement now that you brought it up. I wasn't going to promote this, but we're going to start lunch at the hotel, but it's going to be knife burger.
Oh, at the hotel.
At the hotel. So like 7 days a week. We're going to have lunch, but it's knife burger. Okay. So we'll have 5 or 6, maybe 7 burgers a day. There'll be a little card. You can get steak.
That's awesome.
So it's burgers, steak, salad, and maybe 1 pasta. That's it. And we're going to call it knife burger at lunchtime. So you can come and do takeout. You can come and sit down and eat, or sit at the bar and have a burger and go back to work. So we're going to be announcing that very soon.
So you've got knife burger in Plano, which is open back up.
Yes.
Y'all open for lunch
in the Willow Bend Mall.
Right, in Willow Bend is good. You also have the butcher shop there.
We've closed the butcher shop to make the transition to this kind of wholesale retail meat business. Okay. And George is going to use that space as another private dining room out there. Okay. Because the mall didn't have enough foot traffic to justify it, and we sold enough steak during the pandemic via FedEx and delivery and mail and stuff like that we do mail order now rather than have a walk up butcher shop.
How does that work? Is it? I guess how does the mail order work for
Eventually, we're going to have a website where you can do all of that. We're going to sell dry aged steak, ground beef packages already in pre-made patties. We're going to have beef jerky, and then I'm going to use Justin Brunson's bacon and Michael Passmore's caviar. And it's all, you can see we're using the Passmore caviar at Knife and Spoon. We're branding Passmore caviar under my restaurant's names. Okay. So people can get that caviar. It's my blend, my salts, my working with Michael after all these years with the restaurant's label on it. So you can either buy it from Michael or buy it from the restaurant or on the website. And that'll be up after New Year's. We're just, I wanted the pandemic to totally be over. I wanted the restaurants to settle. I want to get Dana Point open, and then we're going to do this. We're not into biting off more than we can chew, but we want to make these things available. And as Knife Burger is growing, I want to be able to offer pre-made 5 and 6 ounce patties to anybody that wants to buy them.
Awesome. So I want to ask you 3 quick questions. What is for you? What is your favorite thing about Orlando, and your favorite thing about Laguna or about Dana Point?
Oh, it's the location. Orlando is the people there, the resort. Everyone that works for us there is just like amazing. That Ritz-Carlton hospitality, the training from the time you park your car to everything. We have a beautiful pool, an amazing spa. Yeah, it's gorgeous. The adjoining JW Marriott, 18-hole, the Greg Norman Golf Course. Yeah. Canoeing, paddling, kayaking, mountain biking.
It's an actual resort.
Yeah, and if you're higher than the 7th floor, you can see the fireworks from Disney every night. You don't have to go to the Four Seasons, by the way. So I love that. It's and it's going to be great for the kids. All my friends have come down to Orlando already. That's awesome. Like whether they come to eat at the restaurant or to play or cook with us. So and Laguna is just like I'm a surfer from way back when. Yeah, you are. So I have Doheny Beach over there. So you have Ohana Fest with Eddie Vedder and all these rock and roll stars every year. You got the beach right there, the marina right there.
That view is killer.
An hour to Los Angeles, 90-minute plane ride to Lake Tahoe. Yeah. 2 hours to Mexico. Yeah. It's what's not to like.
Yeah, that's right. I love Laguna.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's so beautiful. It's almost fake. Does that make sense?
It does appear to be fake at times, or just storybook like.
Yeah.
And the thing I like Dana Point, because Dana Point to me is more of a working class community.
It is. You're exactly right.
And it's a beach town, and there's
surfing
and music, and people aren't as like crazy as Newport.
Right.
You know, Newport's a little uptight.
A little very.
You got to dress up to go to 7-Eleven in Newport.
I know. Yeah, you're right. That whole corridor there from Newport all the way to down Dana Point to past that San Marcos is absolutely beautiful.
Gorgeous. And surfing paradise. We have Salt Creek. Man. All like, it's the beaches are not really beaches, but they're great surfing beaches. So you put on a wetsuit and jump out there.
I saw they have whale watching or close to the hotel. I saw
we have the most amount of whales like right at Doheny Beach there and Dana Point Harbor. We attract a lot of ocean life there. There's a lot of spotting. There's whale watching. And
cool.
The seafood is amazing. Amazing.
How could you not love delicious award-winning seafood, maybe some steak, great views, whale watching? I mean, why would you ever want to leave?
I have to. I have to come home. I have to come home and take care of the kids. Single dad life,
So now that you've got knife figured out and you're back open with the knife, what is your favorite thing about the knife concepts for you?
I really think it's the people that come and support us for the last 7 years. I mean, I can't imagine anything else working without them, and I can't even come to words to express the gratitude going back to the opportunity and to where we are right now and how it's changed my life. Because as a lifelong restaurateur,
right,
a chef working the line, critical success has a tangible value to it. Right. Monetary success will change your life.
Right.
And someone who struggled as much as I have my whole career monetarily in the restaurant business. I owned my first restaurant when I was 24.
Right.
I didn't go the corporate route. I've flip-flopped.
Yeah,
I've gone the corporate route.
You know what though? I don't think it would have. I think you've learned, and I think you've with all your knowledge, you flip the corporate route because you understand the business better.
Yeah, Las Vegas taught me a lot about how hotels work and how restaurants work within hotels and what you need to do. And a lot of it was those celebrity chefs were asking for way too much money and not delivering.
Right.
So once my reputation became large enough, and this is what Knife afforded me, is that if Knife's reputation is not so much about John Tesar as it is about the steak.
Right.
Certain people may think it's about me or like my personality or all the things that I've done, but that restaurant really has been there for 7 years and is so busy every night because people come for that steak.
They do.
And that's been giving me the opportunity to show people that I can not only open other types of restaurants, but I bring that steak along with it, and it's kind of the foundation of what we do. And let's face it, Americans love steak, and they love seafood too. A lot of people here don't understand seafood because we're not on an ocean.
It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
All because we can get fresh seafood here now. Before it was like, I got fresh. No, you don't. It's frozen. You don't have fresh.
And I'm still poo-pooing what they call fresh seafood, so I'm not being a snob. But
what you are, yeah.
At Outer Reef and in Orlando, those fish are in the water yesterday.
I know,
or hours. In the case of Orlando, only hours ago.
Right.
And then it goes right onto the menu, and we serve it that night. So I wish I could do that in Dallas, but you can't because you have to put it on an airplane or a truck to get it here.
Yeah.
So it's not anything about Dallas. It's about seafood is that perishable. Yeah.
All right, so this weekend we got before we get out here, you got Chef Farmers again.
Yes.
Chef Farmers, and you're going to be
main
there.
event on Sunday. I'm in the VIP with all my buddies.
I'll be there.
I'm doing steak and hamburgers. Let me go. I want to give this guy a plug out because ex-Dallas Cowboy.
Okay.
Ex-Dallas Cowboy, and they've been absolutely fantastic to me.
Well, it's going to be fun. It's at Dallas. It's at the old Dallas Heritage Village.
Yes,
and
I think it's Happy Hollow Meats.
Happy Hollow Meats.
It's grass-fed steak. We're going to be serving primarily that, and I have backed up with a little 44 Farms ground beef.
Awesome.
And in the VIP we have Katsuji's going to be there. My arch nemesis from Top Chef.
Yeah.
Casey Thompson from Top for all you Top Chef fans will be there.
Yeah.
Gerald's coming into town. Lamar Moore is on all kinds of television. He's out of Chicago,
awesome.
A barbecue guy. Bruce Coleman's been on Top Chef. He's really good friends with Dave Grohl. He's the guy that introduced me to Dave. So he's got the barbecue place in Las Vegas, Soul Belly. I'm sorry, I'm getting old. I'm trying to plug everybody's restaurant. So. But come and see us, and you'll get to see them there.
I'm excited this year.
And there's still tickets available for the main event and for Saturday street food at
awesome.
AT&T Center.
AT&T.
Yeah.
I'm excited about seeing it. And your social media, John?
Yes, I am Chef John Tesar on Instagram. My Twitter account was taken away from me temporarily.
That's why I couldn't find you. I was like, what the?
Twitter took my account away.
I knew. I was like, what the hell? What'd you do, John?
Sean Hannity and I just don't see eye to eye. And I guess I said something that was inappropriate. But it's very unfair. It's very unfair.
Yeah,
I'm fighting to get it back.
Yeah.
If Sean Hannity and Fox News have their Twitter accounts, John Tesar should have my Twitter account. That's right. Back. So if you care about this, please give John Tesar his Twitter account back. So thank you.
John, thank you so much for being here. I'm glad I got down to the root and prove what happened. This weekend, I guess, we got Chef for Farmers. We also have World Food Championships. We are judging Monday and Tuesday, the finals. And so we got that going on. If you're a chef, I'm sure there's 1,500 different chefs over there from all around the country. But other than that, the retail business and the culinary experience is going to be at Chef for Farmers, which I'm super excited about. And you can find everything from us at www.treychapman.com. We have a restaurant guide. Of course, we have all our blogs. Our new blog came out yesterday, our new article, Best Fried Chicken in North Texas. I spent 2 years eating fried chicken at all these joints. And it's not just a trendy chicken. It's bone-in fried chicken, and it's old restaurants, it's new restaurants, and you'll really like it. So if you like fried chicken, go to check it out. I've got Mexican fried chicken in there. I've got Nathan's fried chicken there with 25 spices. Nathan Tate from Rapscallion. You'll really like it. So check it out. We'll see y'all this weekend at Chef for Farmers, the World Food Championships, and I'm sure you'll see John and all his buddies over there. Thank y'all. Next week, same time, same channel.